Hello and welcome, I'm Tim and this is SV Paquita. Come along almost every week, whenever I get a chance to post a video, and follow along as I try to make the transition from being a professional lifelong mariner to cruising a sailboat, mostly offshore, but sometimes in the coastal waters. Right now we're in New England and we're getting ready to go through the Cape Cod Canal and head up towards Maine. Spend the rest of the season in the Gulf of Maine. So come along, strap in, and hope you like it. Okay, so in coming back from Florida, if you guys watched that one where Cristalita and I came back from Florida, we were pressed for time and couldn't wait for weather, and we ended up having to motor almost 5 out of 6 days coming up the 1,100 miles from Fort Lauderdale to Rhode Island. And in doing that, I was right at my 250 hour mark on the engine anyway, and I should have changed oil then and there, but I wanted to keep everything going. I didn't want to go and have a problem and deal with it offshore and all that sort of stuff. These are all really sad excuses. There's no reason why I shouldn't have done this. I could even just swap the filter. That would have helped out too. But anyway, we ended up running it up here, and right now I'm about 100 hours over my oil change interval, which is embarrassing. I don't think it's bad, and I don't think that if you do it all the time, if you did it all the time, it probably would be bad. But I don't think that's. I think that we're still all right. But as I'm here, the number one thing that I have to do today is warm up the engine, get everything going, and change the oil. And I'll try to bring you along for that too, although it's hard to film because you're just gonna look at the back of me doing everything. But anyway, in preparation, I got my Shell Rotella 1540. That's something that in the commercial guys around here really like, and if they like it, then I like it too. But in preparation for this, while I was at work, I went to Amazon and ordered this. This is the second time I've used this company. It's called I thought it had a really funky name to it. Yeah, here it is, Under My Hood Oil Analysis. Anyway, I think that with taxes and shipping and all that sort of stuff, I think I spent like $27 on this. Let me see if I can put the camera down here. Here we go. And let me show you what you get with this. Look at this, an unboxing video. Alright, so there's some instructions right here. Information card. And a return envelope. You'll see a Ziploc bag. And then a sample container. So we're going to fill up the sample container, and if I remember correctly, I think we fill it up to the 3rd mark. I don't think we fill it up all the way. And then we put it inside this so it's double zipped up. Then you fill out all the information, and they should have me in there because they have like a database, so you can look at your results over time. And it'll be interesting to see what the results are. So I'm doing my oil change, and like these 2 gallons of oil cost about $47. And then I've got instead of screwing around saving $2 on an oil filter, I have the stock Yanmar filter for it. So I think that especially if you're going to go over your hours in an oil change, you might as well spend the money and put the right stuff in there. And in my case, I really want to see. This will be a good example to show me what kind of things go happen. What I'm assuming I'm going to see. I don't know this for a fact, but we will find out later, is that as oil starts to degrade, you get more blow-by, and they'll find more fuel or hydrocarbons in the oil, I believe. Hopefully we won't see any coolant or metals or anything like that. It has higher levels of metals or anything like that. I know the viscosity is broken down, and I've done some bad things to my engine or something that I should never do again, which I plan on never going over my hours again, but I'm just being completely forthcoming with you guys telling you this. When I did it before, 350 hours ago, I took a sample of it and I sent it out, and it came back. All the readings were exactly right on spec. It said that everything's perfect, looks wonderful, but they said it was odd because it had high traces of silicone. And in doing my research, there shouldn't be any silicone in the oil, there shouldn't be any silicone in the engine, with the exception of if somebody had done something like they replaced the oil pan on the bottom. Sometimes people load up a lot of silicone in there, and some of it squeezes out, and because these tests are so accurate, they can measure some of that. None of that happened. But I think I figured out what happened. I have an oil extraction pump that's you'll see it when I go to change the oil. But basically, you don't like unscrew the oil drain pan plug and drip the oil out because it's down in the bilge. There's already a hose connected to that runs to a pump, and you turn on the pump and it goes, and it extracts the oil right out from the bottom of the pan. And you can even set it up, I don't have it set up this way, but you can even set it up to run it the other way to pump fresh oil back in it. For me, I prefer to pour it in over the top and have a better accurate measure for that. And that's not such a big deal. Pulling it out is the hard part. But the time that I did it the last time, when the oil came through, it was the first time that I had used that whole oil extraction thing. And the first part of oil, because I didn't want to run out of oil, I filled this thing up first. And I'm thinking that the silicone that I saw was actually a result of what was inside the hose coming from the engine, the high temperature silicone hose over there. So we'll see if silicone shows up again. Now this time what I'm going to do is I'm probably going to extract a gallon of oil and then fill up the bottle and then extract the rest of the oil, so it's right in the mid sample. But I think that if you do an oil change analysis, don't do one. Do a few of them so you can see how it's trending. And in my case, I think the last time I changed the oil, I was at like 200 hours. I wasn't even at the 250 hour mark. So it'll be very interesting to see how this goes. So come along for the ride. I'm getting ready. As you can see, I'm already sweating. And I'm getting ready to change the oil. I've run the engine. The engine is warm. And I've opened everything up here. And in opening it up, I also found a new problem. And it's not a big one, but you see this right here? This is what they call sound down leaded insulation. It's like foam rubber with a radiant barrier and some lead in it to keep everything quiet. So you can see it's all falling down. And I think the reason for this is that when Crystalina and I ran the engine for 5 days straight, it gets really hot in here. And there's no blower in this. And it's a little teeny area. As you can see, it barely fits in here. Now that brings me up to another project that I have coming in the future. I've already ordered stuff, but it's not here yet, so this will have to be on another video. But see this right here? This is a Balmar 180 amp alternator, and that's why we have the serpentine built, the serpentine upgrade to run all that power. Well, it's got the MC612. I think it's a 612 external regulator with the temperature sender. And this thing will really put out. I mean, it really kicks butt when it goes. But then all of a sudden, it just dials itself back. And I'm convinced that it is sensing that it's too hot in here for it. And so to protect the alternator, it doesn't let it do put out as much as it should. So what I've ordered is I've ordered a 3-inch bilge blower and a 3-inch line that if hopefully I can run it underneath the engine, make sure it won't interfere with anything. If I had to, I could run it another way, but I'm really hoping to bring it up underneath the engine. I've seen other people do this where they bring it up and they have it exhaust right to here. So it'll be blowing fresh cold air right to the two. There's supposed to be 2 fans on these things to really keep them cool. And Rick and I were just talking. We're saying that now that we're up north, maybe we'll have this thing so that when we'll have the fan on all the time, and all that fresh air that's coming in is going to have to be blowing out somewhere. So it'll go back into the lazarette and around here, but any that gets in here will just add to warming the boat. So until we go back down south, I think maybe then I'll, on the back, way back there where there's more room, I'll put another 3-inch line and try to have it like exhaust probably into the lazarette, so that way we can exhaust some of the hot air from around the engine. So that's what I'm hoping for. So anyway, just to give you an idea, I've got this opened up. Those that have seen the boat tour have seen this before. We've got the dual Raycor filters, and we'll be changing those today, along with the filter on the engine as well. And it's got the pickup pump over there, and then what you don't see is the 1000 Raycor 1000 that the previous owner put on. That I can tell you, I don't think I'm really that excited about. I think but anyway, that's a whole nother story. We'll deal with that later. But today, if you look over there, you'll see, I'm going to actually go into the aft stateroom, come in through here. Here we go. The Reverso oil changing thing. Oil changing system. And it's set up for the engine, the generator, and the reverse gear. That's what it says. It's really set up for the engine. It was never put on for the reverse gear, although it can do that. It just was never set up. And then the generator, I just recently put in, you know, I put in the new Northern Lights last year, and I haven't set that up either. But that's something I'll do before I get to the next oil change on that. So, right now, what I have to do is I'm probably going to clean up Crystalita's shoes here and everything, get everything ship-shape, Bristol fashion, put some diapers down here, uncoil this, and when I have those big gallon jugs, I keep the old ones so that I can put the old oil into them, and we'll start this process. See, hopefully it'll work well. Oh, wait, before I go, I should also show you the oil filter. So looking down here, you can see the oil filters down there, and I can get to it on this side too. But as is the case with many of these things, it's not mounted vertically. It would be nice if it was hung up underneath something and you could drop it down. But because it's on the side, regardless of how much oil I get out, we're going to get some spillage down there. And I don't know if you can see it, but there's a diaper down there that I keep underneath the engine. It's always dry. And what's nice is if you see anything red, like fuel dripping on it, it'll show up very quickly. Any oil spots will show up on it. So I will put a series of diapers underneath that, spin the oil filter off, put the new oil filter on. Obviously, we're going to lubricate the gasket, and hopefully we should be good, but we'll probably catch a lot of oil in the meantime, and then we'll pull everything out, clean everything down, and then replace the diaper that's on the bottom. And when I say diaper, that's just what we call the oil absorbent rags. You know, there's special things that absorb oil but won't absorb water. And so we'll take the old one out, we'll put new ones on, and the reason why we do that, once again, is more to alert us if there's a problem. In fact, there was an issue that Rick and I were chasing around for a long time because we kept seeing little drops of red, and we're like, we got a fuel filter leak here. We got a fuel filter leak. And it turned out that in checking the level of the coolant, the red coolant had actually dropped out of the expansion tank and dropped one drop on the thing, and we thought that was the red fuel. But it was good that, I mean, that's why you have it, so that makes you ask, so that hopefully you can head off a problem before it happens. So here we go. Okay, so now it's time to get everything going here. So, it's about 1,000,000 degrees. So I gotta get this thing, and look, we have it capped off at the end so that it hopefully won't spill anywhere. But that doesn't mean that I can't make a mess, because Lord knows I am gifted in that department. So, oh, you know what? I don't think that I turned on the breaker. Yes, I gotta go turn on the breaker. Hang on. Let's hopefully you can see all that. Okay, so my sample bottle, empty. Should be hand tight. Since I'm all set up here, I'll probably have to go back and get it. Oh, no, we got it. Don't have to get anything special for that. All right, so I get this ready. I put it in the empty. I'm going to turn the engine oil on. And now, when I did this the last time, it went different. It says fill and drain. So I would think it's drain. We'll see. Okay, you see, that's sucking it over here. So that's drain out of here. Okay, here it comes. Oh, no. I was wrong. Okay, here it comes. So there you can see that black gold coming through. While this is pumping, I'm going to get my sample bottle. Hopefully not be too contaminated with anything. Any silicone this time. Ooh, that's a nasty looking oil. All right, we got about a half a gallon in. So I'm going to start filling up the sample bottle. Okay. Now I told you before, I think you fill this to 3/4 full. I can always dump a quarter out, but I can't put a quarter back in once I'm done. So we got that there. Diapers on the floor. Get my other one ready. I think it only takes like a, if I remember correctly, I've only done this once before, but I think it was like a gallon and a quart or something like that. 5 quarts maybe, something, I don't know. We'll see. Obviously this makes things a lot easier. It would have been great. On the tugboat we have a big system like this, and they do the same thing where they don't pour any oil. They buy the oil, you know, in the hundreds of gallons at a time. Now this is a little disconcerting because I'm about 3/4 of a gallon here and it's running out. So, oh, I guess it's still coming down. So you know what? I'm going to shut the pump off so we don't hurt the impeller. Maybe things are still dripping down, and we'll see how much we get. It's going to be a little concerning if I take 3 quarts out and put 8 quarts back in. That would be very bad. I don't think that's what's going to happen, but you know what I mean. But anyway, it would be in a perfect system. What I'd like to do, I don't think I'd do this with the age of this boat and knowing how everything works. I think if I bought a new boat and had the system plumbed in like this, once again, I would have them plumb in at somewhere. I think that the reverse gear, you can suck out the oil of the reverse gear, but it only comes out of the top, so you actually have to use a hose that you drip down in there. But it'd be nice to hook up the generator and all that, and then be able to pump all that stuff through, and then stick your hose in one of these things and pump back exactly how much you need to put back in. That would be pretty cool. So let's try this again. I'm feeling the top to make sure that the impeller doesn't get too hot. Okay, we're getting a little bit coming out here. It's spitting. And we've got just about a gallon full. Ooh, it's making a mess. Maybe I should say I'm making a mess. I have my hand on top of the impeller because I don't want to get that impeller too hot and burn it up, but I want to pull every bit out of it. It's kind of hot, so let me just let it settle down. I'm thinking like, you know, like where you pour the molasses. Now granted, this oil is not hot. I let it run for a long time, but it's warm, but it's not hot. I think that's probably enough. But you know, when you pour, you know, syrup on your pancakes, you still have that stuff that's still rolling down the edge of the plate. I'm hoping that's what's happening in the end of the oil pan where the pickup is over here. Now, and oil also is seeping out of the oil filter. So the longer I wait, the less, hopefully the less oil will come flying out of the oil filter when I open it up. Okay, still getting a little bit now. And I'm going to call that done. So we're getting hot there. Now what I'm going to try to do is to attempt to try to drain the hose out. This would probably be a lot more important if I were using backfeeding it to fill it in with the new clean oil. But since I'm not doing that, it should be all right. Yep, it's just about a gallon in there. So, pretty safe to assume that we should be able to put a gallon back in. I really think it takes like 5 quarts, so I don't know if the oil is still stuck in the filter. I'm gonna have a super big mess over there. So I don't remember the last time I checked the oil. I didn't check it when I started it this morning, which I probably shouldn't have, but I always check it before I do, like go anywhere. And coming up, I think the last time I checked it was when we got fuel down in New Jersey, and it was right up at the top. So anyway, that's that. We'll let everything settle down right there. I'm going to turn this off, and let's go tackle the oil filter. Now, it's at this point I should really point out that I really made a stupid mistake, and I thank one of my friends for pointing it out to me before I had cleaned up everything. But, you know, I never took the filler cap off the top of the engine. And I'm not sure that made a huge difference, but I was missing about 1.5 quarts or 2 quarts. And between what was still left in the engine and what was coming out of the filter, I think we accounted for all of that. So before we get into the oil analysis section here, I got to deal with this because I can see that these comments are going to be coming in the future. There are those that are going to say, there's no reason to check your oil if you change your oil all the time and all that sort of stuff. And you know what? You're absolutely right. If you change your oil all the time and everything's fine, that's great. But here's the thing. My boat is 20 years old, and it's a 2002. And there's some, I don't want to say hokiness. You just don't. I'm the 4th or 5th owner of the boat, and the last owner, there was like 1,200 hours on the hour meter, but they said that they had to have the previous owner said that they had to replace the hour gauge, and that it had he said around, I don't know, around 1,200 hours on it or something like that. Anyway, that's fine. I think when I was buying the boat, I was more interested that the boat was being run than not run over the last 20 years. So why do I do this? For, like I say, I think the whole thing with shipping and the analyst, everything on this whole job cost about $27. And so my whole point of doing this is so that I can establish a baseline of what it was at my first oil change and what it will be going. And doing an oil change on a boat like this, like I say, you know, I've got almost $50 in oil, another $15 in filters, and then there's the other stuff that goes along with that. And once again, you know, I keep saying, if you're going to have a big dollar boat, you really ought to spend a little bit of money to keep it well maintained. This might not be a big issue now, but if I were to have problems with it in the future, I can always go back and use this as a reference to say, what was happening a year ago? Have these numbers been going south the whole time or what? And so that's why I really believe in engine oil analysis, and it's really cool when you get a company like this that's really affordable, and they archive the stuff for you right on their website. So it only took a week or so, maybe a week and a half before I got an email back. And there's some things on this thing that you should see. That these are the green and the yellow columns there are the different dates of when I got this done, and you'll see the hours are messed up, and I think that and it says whether it was filter change or an unknown or whatever. And I didn't know. I didn't know what that first time I didn't fill out the paperwork right. But you can see some other stuff. There's the silicone that I was just talking about, and on the first one it showed that there was some silicone on there, and then all the other numbers down there, even though I was 100 hours over on the oil change, some of the numbers are a little bit higher, and seeing how I went way over, I'm not too concerned about it. I think they're pretty good. Yeah, you can see right there. There's for fuel and water and stuff like that. There isn't any. This was given to me after the first one. This where they found the silicone. They told us about it, and then over here you can see on this last one they wrote right in here, all readings appear to be within normal range. Keep sampling for next interval, and I really believe that. I think it's a really good thing. So I will continue sampling my oil as I do continuing maintenance, and whether you do or not, that's up to you. But thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it, and if this is something that you found useful, maybe you think about giving us a thumbs up, subscribe, You can even head over to the Patreon page. I'll put a link in the description below. Thank you guys so much, and as always, I see you guys on the one.